Gwata TV gives you a first look at North Central Washington's business news. You'll hear from our local business, tech, and education companies as Jenny discusses hot topics and current events with some of the best innovators and pioneers in North Central Washington.
Hello, North Central Washington. Welcome to Gwata TV. I'm your host, Jenny Rojanasatian, and today we'll be talking a little bit about my nonprofit, Gwata, along with an exciting event we're hosting in North Central Washington called the Flywheel Investment Conference. To talk about this great event and some other initiatives in the community, I've invited guest Jenny Rickel, COO of Native Network, to come on air with me. Jenny, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I get the privilege of working with Jenny, but for those of you who may not have worked with you in the community, let's talk a little bit about your background. You're rooted in North Central Washington from the very beginning.
Oh yeah, so I grew up down the road in Ephrata and went to college at Central over in Ellensburg and landed here with my business degree and rose-colored glasses, 1991, and went right into telecommunications.
And you've been a pioneer for really driving technology in North Central Washington. Let's talk a little bit about your background in telecom and in technology.
Well, I like to joke with people who've been in the Valley for quite some time and remind them about what it was like to build the first cellular company here. So that was back in the 90s. As I said, I landed here right out of college and was fortunate to land on the team that actually got to build that first network. And the phones, we like to say, were, you know, the size, they were in bags or they were the size of bricks and cost a lot of money. So that was a heck of a lot of fun because that was being on the leading edge of technology at that time. So we built that company to the Canadian border and over to north of Spokane, ended up with about 30,000 customers, and eventually that became AT&T's service that we know today.
So background in telecom, but your career only continued to grow. We call you a serial entrepreneur because you continue to start new initiatives in our community, which I think is not only exciting for me personally and being connected with Gwata, but also to see a female really driving the technology initiatives in our community.
Ah, thank you.
So
yeah.
I want to recognize you for that as well, for being a pioneer in a space that we're continuing to support women going into those careers. We're going to get more into Jenny's background, as well as talking a little bit about Native Network, the company that you're driving now. But first, we have to go to a commercial break. So stay tuned. It's going to be a great episode today on Gwata TV. Welcome back to Gwata TV. I'm on air today with Jenny Rickel, COO of Native Network. And we were just talking about Jenny's entrepreneurial history in the community, your experience at Cellular One. What was your journey after that experience with Cellular One?
So actually, after you know, our Cellular One days, a couple of us actually started a telephone company. There'd been some deregulation, and we started Northwest Telephone. We thought we would have a retail model, but some of the financial markets dried up right as we were getting going, and so we kind of had to pivot and adjust our model. Ended up going the wholesale direction and leaving LocalTel, you know, to be the experts in retail, but a very similar company. And you know, it was hard. There wasn't as many resources back in the day, I like to say, and a lot of people who know me have heard me say, you know, I sure felt like I was walking uphill both directions barefoot, and I don't want other entrepreneurs to have to do that. So it's really where my passion, I think, comes from in supporting Gwata. You know, Gwata's always done a great job of honoring entrepreneurship and innovation through its annual luncheon. And now, you know, being able to work with you on the Flywheel initiatives is really exciting to me. I think it's really a component that's been missing in our region for, you know, a long time, and so it's well time that we get, you know, solving this problem and connecting entrepreneurs with access to capital.
And that access to capital piece, as you mentioned, you know, we have a thriving entrepreneurial community in North Central Washington, but often, and especially in history, entrepreneurs had to figure out that pathway to capital alone. They had friends and family model, traditional banking, which doesn't always apply, and it really has left a gap in support services as far as investments. You've hit the pavement before, and have always had to go out of the area, right, for looking at angel investing or venture capital solutions.
Early on, we were lucky to connect with one local investor and was really fortunate to kind of stumble upon that, like you say, through a friends and family model. But never has there been, infrastructure in place where entrepreneurs knew how they could get into what we call deal flow. How can they get exposure to all of the area's angels and be able to pitch and, seek funding if their model makes sense.
And the good news is, as we've kind of alluded to, you've helped us generate in North Central Washington a new angel group.
Well, I have to give credit to several community leaders have been working on this for a number of years, and I am very pleased to be part of that process now. I think back even in 2005, 2006, we made some runs at some connections with folks from Seattle who could mentor us and give us some information, but we weren't ready at that point. And so just last year, 18 months ago, we had a couple of community leaders really bring this to your attention and to the Wenatchee Valley Chamber's attention. And the rest is, soon we'll be saying is history, right? But shall we tell them a little bit about Flywheel?
Let's talk a little about Flywheel. So the Flywheel Investment Conference, which we're going to dive into some more detail about, is coming up on April 19th at the Stanley Civic Center. And at the investment conference, early stage companies compete for an investment award. And this investment award has been put out there through local investors who said, we want to create a pathway to capital for entrepreneurs, not just local, but across Washington State, across really that ecosystem and statewide. And so let's talk a little bit about that first round. We raised over $100,000.
Yes, actually, we're really pleased that we were able to put together that investment award of $100,000, and so we'll be having that big check, awarded on April 19th. So that is comprised of, gosh, how many do we have? There's probably about a dozen angel investors who've come together, and with some leadership and some administrative support from Gwata, has been able to screen 28 applicants, which we thought was a great number. I mean, if it had been any more, we would have died doing the process because we're just getting our feet wet in this. But, high quality, awesome companies, some that are local, some that are, across the state, as Jenny said, because one of our goals would be not only nurturing and being available to local companies, but also attracting other tech companies to our area for a number of reasons. And overall, it obviously helps with our economic vitality. So we're really excited to have that going on. We screened down to six,
which was hard to do, as you mentioned. Hard. 28 great applications across the state to just 6 companies who will compete live. So that's really exciting for the community. I know many community members have seen this show, Shark Tank, and seen that kind of style of pitching for investment and getting the grill back. Our local investors will have those 6 companies on stage. They will present their company, and then you'll hit them back with some questions.
Yeah, just like you see on Shark Tank, we'll be grilling them, seeing how they react on their feet, and I think it'll be a heck of a lot of fun.
And I want to add too, you mentioned a really important part, which was attracting people to this area. So as we went through this process, Gwata, again, being kind of the administrative support for the Flywheel Angels, we had a lot of talk about how do you take $100,000 and choose the criteria and choose where it was going to go, whether it was only local companies or statewide. And really, the $100,000 gave us the opportunity in the end to attract companies in. And companies aren't going to move here, right, without access to capital.
Oh, definitely. You really have to demonstrate that you have that infrastructure in place for emerging tech companies. And if you don't really seem like you're open for business. You know, it really sends a message. You and I both know, because we've been out on a bit of a road show the last year. You know, you especially have been a tremendous student for this whole process, looking at models that work in other communities. And we're hearing all over the place that this is a critical piece you have to attract companies and nurture your existing.
Absolutely. So it's really meant to be a dynamic event that connects local, statewide companies and supports economic development. So while that 100,000 may end up with a local company or a company from across the state, it's going to allow us the opportunity to bring companies into North Central Washington who may have never heard of us before. And it's a time for us actually to catch up with Adam Greenberg. So Adam presented at the first Flywheel Investment Conference, and he came out to Wenatchee, having not been to our community before, just for the opportunity to connect with some investors as we were building this process. And since then has done a tremendous job with his company, UNU. So we went out recently, the Gwata TV crew, to Seattle to catch up with Adam, and now we're going to hear what Adam has to say about Flywheel.
I'm Adam Greenberg, and I'm founder and CEO of UNU. We affectionately call our product Luna. And Luna, she's this system that allows you to monitor and take care of all of your crops in a greenhouse from anywhere. The Flywheel conference itself was fantastic to get in touch with not only the people in the agriculture industry, but also people who want to invest in the agriculture industry. Since the Flywheel conference, we've gone from about 10 people to about 30 people. We've spent a ton of time honing and focusing our product and making sure our customers are happy and increasing value proposition. Now it's way bigger than me. It's not about me anymore. It's about the cause, it's about the people, and it's about the team being excited about something greater than any one of us. And so all of that combines together to create a magical scenario that is incredibly motivating. And that's the only reason I work 7 days a week, is because I'm passionate about helping people and I'm passionate about helping this industry. So from that perspective, that's one of the pursuits that we have to acknowledge when you're building something that starts off so small and just starts off as just an idea, that turns into something that becomes this engine, this flywheel that allows you to speed up, and as it gets faster and faster and faster and faster, the momentum takes on a life of its own.
People think of North Central Washington as an outdoor haven. From rafting the Wenatchee River to hiking the North Cascades, we admit it's true. With our distinct 4 seasons and proximity to large cities, you can't get much better than this. But there is so much more to the people and places that we call home. Our region is made up of growing communities filled with resources for dreamers, innovators, and problem solvers. We are a community built on high-speed fiber internet and affordable power. We are a community that values the small-town feel with a big city punch. And we're growing. Wenatchee has the resources and the vision for supporting new companies. On April 19th, investors, entrepreneurs, and startups will come together in downtown Wenatchee to connect, learn, and compete for investments. The Flywheel Investment Conference celebrates the drive, passion, and spirit of Washington entrepreneurs while cultivating momentum for those who are just starting their journey. We invite you to join us. We can't wait to share this place that we proudly call home.
Welcome back to Gwata TV. I'm your host, Jenny Rojanasatian, and I have another Jenny R, Jenny Rickel, here today.
We get teased about that a lot, don't we?
We do.
We can't hang out very often because it's confusing for people.
Jenny R and Jenny R. But you won't forget our names, right?
No,
so
right.
that's the easy part. As you're coming back to our program, we've been talking about the Flywheel Investment Conference, which is an initiative and a full-scale event that Gwata is hosting on April 19th. We saw a clip there of Adam Greenberg from UNU, who presented last year, as well as a promotion video we've been using to attract people in. It's really exciting to see Adam's growth, right, Jenny?
Oh, yeah, wow. Isn't that amazing? So he shared, and it's public information, I hear now, that after he saw us last spring, he went out and raised $6 million.
Right.
He's grown to, what, 30 employees? He's just knocking it out of the park.
And, you know, what's exciting about seeing new companies, and we talked about being, I'm at least a student in this process, not having been in the startup world before. Adam last year had a great business plan, a great concept, and then he went out there and promoted it. He connected with angel investors, VC firms that allowed him that capital to grow and to grow jobs. And that's what this is about, growing companies, growing jobs, and really supporting economic development. North Central Washington's been a long-standing innovator in technology within our agriculture or healthcare, but we can do even more.
Definitely. I think it's just so exciting that now we're actually putting ourselves in position to be the kind of community that can support someone like Adam. So when the next Adam comes along, hopefully at our April 19th event, we've got our angels together and we can actually show that support.
And this model, so Gwata's been working on, as we alluded to earlier, about 18 months, 2 years on this project around Flywheel, but we're not doing it in isolation or kind of innovating the only pathway. This type of work's been done in Seattle and Spokane. Other communities have angel investor networks. They offer investment competitions, awards, and support services. But one of the really premier leaders in this is Bend, and I really want to recognize the Bend, Oregon community for what they've done to support and incubate technology companies in their region. They have been hosting now for the past 14 years the Bend Venture Conference, where they put out an investment award, attracted people to their area, and now they've grown a new tech sector. And Bend is very similar to Wenatchee.
Yeah, I think we're the next Bend for sure. I mean, you and I, we visited Bend in October and participated in their conference, which, by the way, has grown to about 2 or 3 full days. So, you know, we have a nice pathway to expand our program, which will be just 1 day this year. But, you know, it's just such a game changer. I mean, didn't we hear time and time again down there that really over the early years and even up till now, they have been able to grow and nurture, support the local entrepreneurs, and then obviously attract others. And we're just as gorgeous and we have just as much to offer, right?
Absolutely. The access to outdoor recreation is a big draw for those coming out of really the Portland scene into Bend. We have a similar experience in Washington State. We know that the folks on the west side in Seattle come and play in North Central Washington for our wine tasting and our skiing and our seasons, but providing an opportunity for them to move their business here or start a business here is going to be really exciting and bring new development to Wenatchee.
Definitely. And you know, with all the good work, you know, very positive expansion that Amazon's done has really, you know, created a very hot market, but also a big opportunity for us because there are a lot of people over there who can't have it make financial sense and are tired of the traffic, right? It's congested over there. So even just a little bit of spillover would be very helpful to us here in expanding our tech sector.
And, you know, I was talking with Confluence Health yesterday, and Robert Pagler, who's on the Gwata board and manages of their information technology, talked about it's exciting to have new tech companies come into our valley because they might provide additional support services for our existing businesses. So we have huge technology sectors within agriculture, within healthcare, within our utilities and our government. So
absolutely.
Bringing out emerging tech that might be professional service providers at some point is another great opportunity. And we've been talking about Bend. Let's talk about the feel. Was the Bend Venture Conference pretty fun to?
Oh yeah, I mean that culture is just great, right? Everybody is. I mean, it's like high fives in the hallways, right?
Yes.
It's like everybody's excited. Everybody's supporting entrepreneurs. It's hard to be an entrepreneur, right? They need the pats on the backs. They need to know they're thinking up the next solutions to our world problems, right? So it's awesome.
Yeah, it was a fun environment, and we're modeling that, as Jenny mentioned, into a one-day event on April 19th. We have incredible speakers coming to Wenatchee. Howard Wright is the chair and founder of Seattle Hospitality Group, which is a world-class organization. He has a really strong background in hospitality, but he's also a part of really a legacy family in the Seattle area. He's a board member and owner of the Seattle Space Needle, for example. So to have an entrepreneur like Howard see what we're doing with Flywheel and be interested in supporting us by speaking, I think is a testament to how cool Flywheel is. And then on top of that, Diane Freeman, she is a partner with Voyager Capital, a leading venture capital firm on the West Coast that does a lot of investments in tech. She's been a part of not only the Portland, Oregon scene, but supportive of Bend, and a leader in that is also joining him. So we're going to have at the Flywheel Investment Conference, Howard Wright and Diane Freeman on stage to talk a lot about what Jenny and I have been. How do communities invest and engage and support entrepreneurs? How that drives a great ecosystem. And then we're going to have the Shark Tank, right?
Yep.
Jenny and her angels are going to grill those 6 companies in the Wenatchee way. I think we have pretty nice folks out here in Wenatchee.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
But it'll still be fun. So you'll get to watch those 6 companies compete, guaranteed to win, right?
Yes. We're giving away $100,000.
So $100,000.
Well, we're investing $100,000.
Yes. $100,000 will be awarded no matter what on April 19th. There's also an audience prize of $5,000, so that as you attend and watch, you can vote for your favorite.
I think that's going to be fun and great as well. Because I've been to some of these events, and I don't always agree with who wins, right? So to have an audience award is really cool.
Exactly. We're going to let the people join in. And then it ends with an amazing after party. So Jenny just talked about that high five culture, that support for entrepreneurs, and we want to make sure that we're building connections and opportunities for B2B business or future investment. I know that we have to wrap up here in a minute, but I think one of the biggest pieces is that this event is open for the public to purchase tickets. So who would you encourage to attend Flywheel, Jenny?
Well, I definitely think any entrepreneur or someone who's thinking about starting a company definitely needs to come and see this process. Aside from the conference, and I like you said, we could talk all day on this, following the conference, the Angels do plan to put together a general fund. So you can count on hearing from us in the future about a way for additional, investments to be made. So anyway, hands down, any entrepreneur, anybody thinking about starting a company, definitely anybody who wants to invest. I mean, we're hoping that some more investors will come out of the woodwork and see how cool this is to inspire and support this group of business owners. Who else? Professional services.
Professional service providers. So when you're a startup, you need a great accountant.
Yep.
You need a great attorney. You need a slew of support services to really ensure your company has the best wheels to grow. So this is, again, open to the public to purchase tickets. Last but not least, just interested community members. So we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about Flywheel and how you can get involved. Well, our Gwata TV episode is wrapping up, as always, faster than expected. I want to thank you, Jenny Rickel, for coming on today to talk about the Flywheel Investment Conference and your pathway.
Absolutely. We could talk forever. You'll have to have me back.
I will have you back on air. And then, of course, Jenny is often at our Gwata events, so a great way to connect with her if you haven't before. As we conclude today's episode, I want you to know that all of the information about the Flywheel Investment Conference is available online. It's flywheelconference.com. Or you can also go to the Gwata website and link out. The Flywheel Investment Conference will be April 19th It's a full-day event at the Stanley Civic Center, so starts at 9 a.m., ends at 8 p.m., and there's a variety of ways for you to get involved. You can come for the full day and enjoy the full experience, or you can simply come to the luncheon or the pitch competition, so check out tickets online. The Flywheel Investment Conference is presented by a variety of incredible local sponsors, and we want to recognize our friends at Ogden Murphy Wallace, Moss Adams, Microsoft, and Confluence Health for presenting this year's event. We also want to give a recognition to the Port of Chelan County, the Port of Douglas County, North 40, and all of our supporting sponsors for their advocacy in this work. Thank you for joining us on Gwata TV. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Since 1999, Gwata has served as North Central Washington's Tech Alliance. As a 501c3, our mission is to bring people and technology resources together to create a thriving community. Through our work, we aim to inspire, engage, and connect.